Texas soon to receive billions of federal taxpayer dollars to increase internet access statewide. The Texas Broadband Development Office, created by the Texas legislature, wants to hear directly from the community. KLTV's Mariela Gonzalez shows you more about their visit to East Texas.
Multiple agencies are traveling around the state to help expand cost-effectively and reliable internet to underserved communities.
Connectivity to the internet was really not just about streaming some type of entertainment on a device.
State Comptroller Glenn Hager says his team is working on the Digital Opportunity Plan to submit to the federal government by December. Hager says they are holding public meetings
to better identify what are the areas of the state of Texas and what are the unique challenges that those communities have.
Jasper ISD Superintendent John Seibold says increasing broadband is important for public education. The district provides students with electronic devices to eliminate the digital divide, says Seibold.
But that is not adequate in a lot of areas outside the city limits when they go to their house. Sometimes they have to come back to town to certain areas we have set up.
Eddie Hopkins is the executive director of the Jasper Economic Development Corporation. He says it's important for people to report broadband deficiencies.
Because that's the only way we're going to get on the radar is if they hear from us. And I think they really want to hear from us.
Michelle Currier with Connected Nation says most communities believe better internet connectivity means
overwhelmingly an increased and improved quality of life. It is better education, it is access to jobs, it's economic growth.
City of Jasper Mayor Anderson Land says internet connectivity is vital for rural towns.
You know, with it being a rural area, affordability and accessibility is very important to us.
Mariela Gonzalez, KLTV 7 News.
The next meeting will be in Longview on August 1st.